Sajjan Kumar is dead, but even in death, his name remains inseparably connected to one of the most painful chapters in India's recent history, the anti-Sikh violence of 1984, and the suffering of those who waited decades for justice. His death today brings that history back into focus. The killings, the investigations, the commissions of inquiry, the political response, and the long journey through the courts. To understand what happened then and what followed for decades, we turn to someone who has closely documented that journey.
I'm Manoj Mitta, a journalist who co-authored a book titled When a Tree Shook Delhi, the 1984 Carnage and its Aftermath. I have written extensively on the cover-up of political complicity in the mass violence targeting Sikhs in the wake of Indira Gandhi's assassination. Despite the official death toll of 2,733 in Delhi alone, the cover-up involved multiple arms of the Indian state: police, CBI, judicial and administrative inquiries, and even courts. It is no surprise, therefore, that Jagdish Tytler, one of the Congress leaders alleged to be behind the violence, is said to be tried only now, following the framing of charges by a Delhi court in an incident that took place at Gurudwara Pulbangash in 1984. Overview is that there was no severe violence leading to murders on the first day, the day on which Indira Gandhi was assassinated. There were sporadic incidents of violence here and there. It did not go to the extent of killing anybody. When there was an attack on the president's cavalcade when he was going to AIMS on October 31st, it is considered a very serious offence to attack the head of the state. They didn't take any action against those miscreants. That sort of gave a signal to people around that they were being given a free hand. The killings began only the next morning, November 1. The reason I'm emphasizing on it is to disprove this claim that was made that the violence was spontaneous. It wasn't so. It was by mobs that were carrying very similar kind of weapons. White powder, it was speculated to be phosphorus, which was used extensively. It clearly indicated that it was some stuff that was given to these mobs by deep state. You know, it's not easily available. Another very clear indication of it being with government complicity was the fact that everywhere the police would be scarce. They would not intervene. On the contrary, in certain places, especially in East Delhi, there were incidents of police actually serving as some kind of an advance party for these mobs, as if their brief was to render them vulnerable to mass attacks. Places like Kalyanpuri and Trilokpuri, which is close to Kalyanpuri. These were among the worst affected in East Delhi. That was the constituency of H.K.L. Bhagat, who was the senior most leader of Congress party of the time. The next was Outer Delhi, Congress MP of the time was Sajjan Kumar. There were fewer affidavits against people like Jagdish Tytler or say Lalit Makan. Incidents of violence in their constituencies was nowhere as much as it was in the constituencies of Sajjan Kumar and H.K.L. Bhagat. When violence of this magnitude takes place right in the capital of the country, under the nose of the central government, it was a very natural demand for people to make that there should be a judicial inquiry. But for a long time, Rajiv Gandhi and other leaders would keep dismissing that demand. If their conscience was clean, if they did not have blood on their hands, they wouldn't have given this kind of an evasive reply. And on the contrary, when Rajiv Gandhi addressed his first public meeting as Prime Minister, November 19, 1984, what he said and what became very notoriously well known after that, when a big tree falls, the earth is bound to shake, which in the circumstances sounded like a justification for the violence and a signal to the culprits that he was there to protect them.
हमें मालूम है कि भारत की जनता के दिल में कितना क्रोध आया, कितना गुस्सा आया। कुछ दिन के लिए लोगों को लगा कि भारत हिल रहा है, लेकिन जब भी कोई बड़ा पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती थोड़ी हिलती है।
That served as a precursor to the election rallies that he addressed after that, because within 2 months of the massacre, we had the general election, Lok Sabha elections. He succeeded in instigating this kind of a majoritarian sentiment. Never before or never after did any party or any leader succeed in getting over 400 seats. That happened only in 1984. They won 2 rounds of elections, the first round being in Lok Sabha and then the next round being in several assembly elections. He then opened up to this demand, and that was because as a Prime Minister he had to deal with the long pending Punjab insurgency problem. So he wanted to enter into a dialogue with Akali Dal, and the number one leader was Longowal, Sant Longowal, who happened to be in jail. Right from Blue Star days, Longowal said that I would not enter into any dialogue with anybody from Congress until you make this setting up an inquiry. And those were the circumstances in which he very reluctantly appointed a commission headed by a sitting judge of the Supreme Court called Ranganath Misra. From day one, he showed the malafidis, Ranganath Misra. He held that entire inquiry in camera, meaning no member of the public, no media representative was allowed to witness the proceedings. It was all held in a very secretive environment in which victims were under great pressure, and there was a great deal of hostility displayed towards them by counsel representing various Congress leaders and the government itself and the commission itself. So there's Justice Committee that was set up on behalf of victims, and it was headed by none other than former Chief Justice of India, S.M. Sikri, and it had luminaries like Soli Sorabji and V.M. Tarkonde, Kushwant Singh, all of them were members of that. So they figured after a point that there was no point in their association with that inquiry. Their participation was giving credibility to a whitewash that was going on, right? So they actually withdrew from it. The report came out in '86 and it was tabled in Parliament in February '87. It turned out to be a complete whitewash. He exonerated Congress party and the government and said if there was any violence, it was only at a local level. In 2000, when Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, civil society demand for a fresh inquiry was there for a long time because of the cover-up that was done by Misra Commission. Under Vajpayee's rule, this demand was conceded and a fresh inquiry was set up, and it was headed by Justice G.T. Nanavati. Those allegations against individual leaders like Titler, most certainly Sajjan Kumar and H.K.L. Bhagat, the Commission said there were credible allegations against them. They do warrant further investigation. However, on the question of the complicity of the party and the government, they said they were not responsible. But then there was a contradiction here. You are saying that the main leaders of Congress in Delhi were complicit in the violence. Yet the party itself was not complicit. Some very fine hair splitting he was doing. The Manmohan Singh government was trying to do what Rajiv Gandhi government was doing in 80s, which was to shield the culprits of 84 pogrom. But by the time this commission gave its report, there was a change in government. In 2004, Congress government of the day, headed by Manmohan Singh, although he was himself a Sikh, they grabbed that opportunity of exploiting that contradiction, and they came out with an action taken report which emboldened them to say that we are rejecting the finding against, say, Titler, because Titler was still a minister at the time. Sajjan Kumar also was holding some position in the Delhi government. So these two were the sensitive findings. They rejected both those. The mainstream opinion in 2005 was completely intolerant of any kind of justification for 84 violence, and that was the spirit in which they campaigned against the original ATR of the Manmohan Singh government, and ultimately forced the Manmohan Singh government to come out with a revised action taken report. They came out with an amended ATR in which they said that we would allow action to be taken, follow-up action to be taken by the police or by the CBI against Titler and Sajjan Kumar. The fresh investigations and so on. Sajjan Kumar was convicted in one case. A very remarkable judgment delivered by Justice Muralidhar. That was the first ever conviction of a political leader in the context of 1984. Jain Banerjee committee looking into individual cases. So in one small set of cases that they said this case is warranted against Sajjan Kumar. This was on the affidavit filed by one Anwar Kaur. You know, his supporters surrounded CBI. There was a lot of pressure put on Anwar Kaur. '84 set a template for our democracy which is very dangerous, which was being repeated over and over again. You know, you can derive electoral mileage out of communal violence. It was established, and it was something that others replicated very successfully. So this is something that was what was very disturbing about it.